Ronnie Barshevsky was almost there. He pulled his Mercedes onto the jam-packed access road leading to Ben Gurion International Airport near Tel Aviv. As news of the attack on the American president began to spread, an already busy travel season got dramatically busier. Tourists and business people headed to the airport in droves, worried once again that being in Israel might not be safe and slowing traffic to a crawl in the process. Unusually, however, didn't seem to mind. He was glued to the unfolding drama and grateful not to be getting out of the car any time soon. As the car inched forward, Aaron McCoy in London translated the play-by-play coverage from the TV correspondents in Denver, Atlanta, New York, and Washington to Bennett in Israel. John, they've just airlifted the president away from the scene. Is he alive? They're not saying. Where are they headed? Don't know. They're not saying. What are they saying? They've just got video, some local station. Hold on. This is unbelievable. John, they've got video of the kamikaze plane heading for the motorcade, for the president's limousine, and then something. I don't know. Something like a rocket or a missile or something comes shooting out of the back of one of the Secret Service trucks and hits the plane. And this thing erupts in a fireball like you've never seen before. What? The whole sky explodes. Wait. I thought the plane came down and exploded onto the motorcade. I thought so too, but I'm telling you, some kind of rocket or missile came shooting out of the back of one of those black cars and blew up the plane first. Then it all comes raining down on the motorcade, and you can see the president's car slam into the concrete dividers on I-70, and the whole thing goes up in flames. Just keeps flipping over and over and over. Bennett began to feel hot and nauseated. He quickly grabbed a bottle of water and began drinking. John, you still there? Yeah, I don't know. I know, it's horrible. Have you been able to break through to Iverson? No, not yet. All the lines in the Denver area are jammed. We're paging him, but we've got nothing yet. Okay, look, get someone on the line to Brooks in New York. Okay, tell him to dump everything at the opening bell. Everything? Everything. Go to Cash. Cash? John, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's going to be a freaking meltdown. Somebody just tried to kill the President of the United States. They may have succeeded. I know, but what, Aaron? The Dow is going to drop a couple thousand points in a few hours. NASDAQ's going to tank. What's the Nike doing right now? Hold on, let's see. Just starting to react. Down 3%. There you go. What about the Hang Seng? Down 2.5%. I'm telling you, they'll both be down 10% or worse by the end of the day. You watch. John, you think I'm wrong? I don't know. I'm just what, Aaron? Are you kidding? Come on, think. What if the president is dead? Or what if he's alive but doesn't pull through? Then what? McCoy was silent. You think anyone's going to get on an airplane again? You think they're going to go out and buy a house next week? You think they're going to start their own business? No. You better believe it's no. Consumer confidence is going to tank. The market's going to collapse. You know what that means. We're going to get killed. It means we're not going to have enough to do this deal. Then what? How can we even go through with the Glishnikov deal now? No, I'm not going to let it die. Absolutely not. You get Brooks on the phone and you tell him to dump everything. Everything. You got that? Bennett was now screaming into his phone. Okay, I got it. The two were silent for a moment. McCoy rattled by Bennett's anger, Bennett rattled by the fear rising rapidly within him. As Bennett listened in, McCoy now awakened Tom Brooks, the Joshua Fund's head trader at his home in Greenwich Village. She carefully explained to him over her speakerphone what was happening, told him to page everyone and get them into the office immediately, and to prepare to liquidate all of the fund's holdings and go to cash. Bennett was struck by McCoy's calmness, her patience as Brooks fumbled around his apartment for his remote control to turn on his TV and watch the ghastly coverage on CNN and then Fox and then MSNBC. There was a genuineness, a sweetness to her he'd never paid much attention to, and it just made him feel worse. Barshevsky pulled up to the terminal without saying a word, popped the trunk, and got out quickly to get the luggage. Bennett hung up his phone, tossed it into his briefcase, and got out. The two shook hands but said nothing. Then Bennett grabbed his bags and raced into the airport for a flight he was now almost certain to have missed. Get me the president. At last, at least the VP was secure deep under. Bud Norris at Secret Service just told me the president is fading in and out of consciousness, said NSC advisor Marcia Kirkpatrick. The 53-year-old Georgetown University Russian history professor turned senior White House advisor, seated at the huge conference table and trying to open a secure satellite phone linked to the president and his security team. Where is he right now? He's on his way to Crystal Palace, flanked by 2 Apaches. A team of agents is trailing in another helicopter, and 2 more choppers are picking up the rest of the agents at the crash site as we speak. How long till they get to Crystal Palace? Not sure. Just then, Kirkpatrick finally connected with the commandeered Denver Metro Police helicopter, whose call sign was now Eagle 1, flying low and without lights southward along the foothills of the Rockies. Eagle 1, go. Eagle 1, this is Prairie Ranch. Secure mode, Matrix Delta Tango. Copy that, Matrix Delta Tango. We are secure. Eagle 1, this is the National Security Advisor. Whom do I have on the line? Ma'am, this is Special Agent Jackie Sanchez. Do you have Gambit? Yes, we do, ma'am. We're inbound for Crystal Palace. Agent Sanchez, I've got Checkmate with me. Stand by one. The vice president grabbed the black phone on the console before him as a military aide punched in his secure code. Sir, you've got Agent Jackie Sanchez on the line. She's in flight with the president. Agent, this is Checkmate. How is he? The VP asked calmly. Sir Gambit is alive. He's in pretty good shape considering. He asked me to tell you to activate Operation Irish X-Ray immediately. Really? That's what he said. Fine, tell him we'll do it. What else? Vital signs are fine. He's stable. We're about to touch down at Crystal Palace, and we've got a medic team waiting for us. Can I give you a full report once we're secure inside? Absolutely, but keep this line open, Agent. Yes, sir. The vice president hit the mute button and looked back at Kirkpatrick. 2 things. First, Gambit wants us to execute Operation Irish X-Ray. Can you make that happen? Hey, Todders. Sorry about that. What are you doing? Kirkpatrick was taken aback for a moment. That quickly? Apparently. Okay, I'll do it right now. Good. Second, how soon till you can get me the counterterrorism task force online? Almost done, sir. It was just after 11 in the morning Israel time, 4 in the morning in Washington, 2 in the morning back in Colorado. Sure enough, Bennett had missed his flight. It wasn't actually going to leave the gate for another 10 minutes, but it would take him at least an hour to get through the long lines and clear through Israeli airport security, and he knew he'd never make it. His phone rang. John, is that you? It was Secretary Iverson. Stu, yeah, it's me. Where are you? I'm in a helicopter with Corsetti. We're headed to see the president, but there's a storm breaking over us right now, so I can barely hear you. Is the president all right? The networks aren't saying, but it doesn't sound good. I can't say much on the open line, but I think he's going to make it. Thank God, said Bennett. What's that, John? You're breaking up, Iverson was shouting at the top of his lungs as the helicopter shook and rocked into the intensifying storm. Bennett ducked into a corner of the airport and tried to talk as loudly as possible without attracting attention, but it wasn't easy. Can you hear me now? Barely. Look, Bob talked to the president a few minutes ago. He wants you out here tonight. He actually wants both of us. That's why Bob sent an agent to grab me and throw me onto this chopper. He's gonna get us both killed. Where is he right now? Asked Bennett. The president? Yeah, can't say, Iverson told him. It's don't ask, don't tell right now. What should I do? Between the crashing thunder, the pelting rain, and the roar of the rotors, it was a wonder Bennett could hear Iverson at all. He plugged his right ear with his finger and pressed the phone tight against his left ear, straining to hear every word. I think the best thing is to get yourself to New York before they close the airports. The Learjet is out here with me, but it's locked down at DIA. They're not letting anything take off or land. Okay, so charter a plane out of New York and get yourself to Colorado Springs. Don't worry about the cost. I'll leave further instructions on your home answering machine. That ought to be pretty secure for now. If you need me, leave me messages on my home phone. You'll never get my you'll never get me by cell. Okay, I'll do that. And John, yeah, bring the papers with you. Okay, why? What are you thinking? Just do it. You don't think any of this is connected to the Medexco deal, do you? I have no idea, but John, Yastu, you remember what the president said to us before you left. The oath? Right. Of course. John, I can't stress this enough. You can't say anything to anyone about this deal. You understand that, right? Don't worry. John, I'm telling you. Stu, I said I get it. I'm dead serious. Nothing to no one. That's an order from the president. Stu, I know. I'm just saying, no misunderstandings. Don't worry. Okay, look, I've got to go. Okay, oh, and Stu? John, I've got to go. One more thing. What? I told Brooks to dump everything at the Bell, go to cash. I know, Tom already told me. Smart move, kiddo. But remember, I can't really talk to you about that kind of stuff anymore. Just get out here fast. Tonight, the president's counting on you. Got it? Got it. Take care of yourself. The line went dead. Bennett went numb. Security was incredibly tight. Lieutenant Colonel Nick Calloway, an Air Force medical trauma specialist, had never seen it like this. Battle-ready Marines surrounded the perimeter as F-15s circled overhead and 3 Apaches hovered just a few hundred feet off the ground. The 2 helicopters carrying the President of the United States and his security team now prepared to set down. Deafening thunder, blinding lightning, howling winds, and driving rain made flight conditions perilous at best, and everyone on the ground was soaked to the bone and terrified that one or more of the choppers would crash. Suddenly, Marine 1 slammed down on the helipad and its side door ripped open. Calloway rushed in. You, John Moore? Calloway shouted above the whipping winds of all the choppers. Yeah, Moore shouted back. Lieutenant Colonel Nick Calloway, welcome to the mountain. You guys ready for us? We sure are. Is the president okay? He's stable, but we need to get him into the medical bay on the double. Let's move. Yes, sir. Calloway turned back to his medical and security team standing just behind him. Okay, let's move. The agents, led by Moore and Jackie Sanchez, scrambled out of the 2 choppers and worked with the Crystal Palace teams to get the president onto a stretcher and into a caravan of 1 ambulance, 2 Chevy Suburbans, and 7 Humvees. 4 minutes later, the caravan was racing down a long, dark tunnel into the heart of the mountain, through 2 sets of 6-foot thick steel blast doors, which closed behind them with a bone-rattling shudder. This was Crystal Palace, code name for the North American Air Defense Command, NORAD, located deep in Cheyenne Mountain in southern Colorado. The mountain was now sealed. The president was safe. The principals were ready. The Counterterrorism Task Force video conference was now in session, linking all the major players in the federal government to the vice president and the PEOC codename Prairie Ranch. National Security Advisor Marcia Kirkpatrick quickly settled the room down and got things moving. Okay, gentlemen, if you take your seats, and Mr. Secretary, if you'd sit in that seat to your right. Great. Okay, here I go, said Kirkpatrick as everyone in the room looked up at a wall of large-screen video monitors and digital clocks showing the time in major cities all over the world. Take the roll call, the vice president directed. Yes, sir, gentlemen, this is National Security Advisor Marcia Kirkpatrick at Prairie Ranch. With me are Vice President Oakes and Secretary of State Tucker Payne. SecDef, are you with us? I'm here, and I've got almost all the chiefs with me. The Navy is still on the way, said Defense Secretary Burt Traynor. The 64-year-old Vietnam vet and recent General Motors CEO, once named one of the Black Enterprise magazine's top 10 CEOs of the 21st century. Good. Treasury Secretary Iverson is out in Colorado with Bob Corsetti en route to Crystal Palace. Is the Deputy Secretary with us? Yes, Marcia, I'm here, and I've got Fed Chairman Allen with me, said the 63-year-old Deputy Treasury Secretary. Michael Forrester, the chairman, and I are in the communications center underneath the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo. We were supposed to meet with the Prime Minister later today and the heads of the Asian central banks. That's off, said Kirkpatrick. Right, we're getting on an Air Force jet in about an hour to head back to Washington, replied Forrester. Mr. Chairman, it's Bill, interjected the Vice President. Yes, Mr. Vice President, responded George Allen, 71, in his first term as chairman after nearly 2 decades on the Federal Reserve Board. Got anything? As a matter of fact, I do, sir. At 6:45 a.m. Eastern, the Fed will announce a significant cut in the Fed funds rate. How much are we looking at, George? Off the record, of course. Off the record, 50 basis points. Half a point? That's great, George. Thanks. I'll tell the president. Yes, sir. How is he? He'll be fine. Incredibly, it's a miracle. Have you seen the video of the attack yet? No, sir, not yet, said Alan. Horrifying. How anyone could have walked out alive is, well, the God, sir, noted the Fed chairman. Certainly is. The sad thing is the agents, we've lost 3 for sure. The others, well, some of them are in pretty bad shape. I don't know if some of these guys are going to make it. We're praying for all of them, and the president, and you, sir, Chairman Allen added. Thanks, George. That's very gracious of you. My pleasure. Do we have the AG? Asked Kirkpatrick. I'm here, Marcia, and I've got my senior team with me, said Attorney General Neil Whittemore, the 56-year-old former New York State Attorney General at the Justice Department. And the DCI? Yes, ma'am, said Jack Mitchell, 51, the colorful Houston-born director of Central Intelligence and a 22-year veteran of the intelligence community. I've got the DDO with me. The DDI is downstairs, but I've got an open line to him. Is he alone in a secure room? Kirkpatrick asked. Yes, ma'am, we're all set. Great, thanks. FBI? I'm here, said Bureau Director Scott Harris. Secret Service? It's Bud. I'm here, Marcia. And I concur with the Vice President's comments, said Bud Morris. The President is really hanging in there, but my boys are fighting. They're fighting for their lives right now. And, Mr. Chairman, they'll take all of the prayers they can get. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome, Bud, Chairman Allen said softly. You hang in there. Will do, sir. Will do. Okay, we are all present and accounted for, Mr. Vice President. It's all yours, Kirkpatrick said, sifting through a series of cables and intel reports just set before her. Jim, thank God you're alive. First Lady Julie McPherson, surrounded by heavily armed Secret Service agents in the family's Beaver Creek Lodge, was already on heavy medication to calm her shattered nerves. Hearing her husband's voice for the first time since the attack, she immediately welled up with tears. Hey, sweetie, how are you? How are the girls? He responded, his voice weak, his blood coursing with narcotics. Julie McPherson tried to fight back her emotions, to be strong for her husband, to be there for him in spirit, if not in person. We're all good, sweetheart. It's so good to hear your voice. We've been praying for you nonstop. Thanks. I just keep thinking, what did Reagan say that time? Honey, I forgot to duck. The First Lady began to laugh, but it quickly disintegrated into sobbing, her body heaving with emotion. All she could think of was how blessed she was, and how devastated the wives of the slain agents must be. And for the moment, it was more than she could bear. The room was a meat locker. It couldn't have been more than 60 degrees in there. The Vice President, now wearing jeans, a thick navy blue wool sweater, and a navy blue fleece jacket with the vice presidential seal on it, leaned forward and held court. Okay, the president is safe and secure at Crystal Palace. They've buttoned up the mountain, and he's got a team of medics working on him as we speak. Bert, where are we with airspace and military status right now? Mr. Vice President, as you know, we've moved to ThreatCon Delta. With your permission, we'd like to go to DEFCON 3. Do it. Thank you, sir. As you also know, we've scrambled 3 F-15 squadrons to fly CAP over Colorado at the moment. The state is under a full ground stop. No flights can take off or land in the state until further notice. We've also instituted a full ground stop over the Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland area, and have F-15s and F-16s flying CAP here as well. We've also scrambled F-16s to guard the coastline and the borders with Canada and Mexico. Mr. Vice President, this is Scott at FBI. Yes, Scott. Shouldn't we shut down to the Defense Secretary? Mr. Vice President, I don't think we have any indication that this is another 9/11. Not yet, anyway. I think what we've got is an attempt to take out the president, not a general series of attacks. Marcia, how about you? I think the secretary is probably right. You're secure. The speaker is secure. All of the cabinet secretaries are secure. We're going to keep monitoring everything. But let's keep in mind what we know. This wasn't a commercial jetliner. It was a private jet, a Gulfstream 4, chartered out of Toronto, apparently by some oil executives. That, of course, may just be a cover story. It may not have been a hijacking at all. And despite some 25,000 flights each and every day, we haven't had a single hijacking over U.S. airspace in quite some time. Again, we'll shut down everything if we have to, but I just want us to be careful not to overreact here. Overreact, interjected Harris. Someone just tried to take out the president and decapitate the U.S. government. Scott, I don't disagree with you. I'm saying the airline industry is finally back on its feet. We've got millions of Thanksgiving passengers headed to the airports later today. Let's just stay cool before we shut the thing down again. You've got to be kidding, Marcia, Harris sniffed in disgust. That's precisely why we need to shut everything down. We could have a nightmare scenario on our hands. Look, when I woke up this morning, yesterday morning, whatever, I would have told you unequivocally that we're doing a pretty good job protecting U.S. air travel. I'd have put my wife and kids on any commercial flight in the country. Right now, I'm not so sure. How many air marshals have we got up tonight, Scott? The VP asked. I don't know off the top of my head, sir. Ballpark? Ballpark, probably about 300, mostly on international flights coming into the U.S. and on all flights that were headed in and out of Washington. But private aviation is totally unmonitored. No security checks, no metal detectors or X-ray machines or anything. You can just get on any private plane at any time of the day or night, and there's absolutely no security. At the minimum, we should ground all private aviation until we get to the bottom of this thing. The VP sat back for a moment and scanned the bank of video screens before him. All right, I'm going to talk to the president, but I want the FAA on notice that we may shut everything down on a moment's notice. Marcia, you got that? Yes, sir. What about y'all's engagement orders over D.C. and Colorado? Asked Jack Mitchell at Langley. Defense Secretary Traynor took that one. Per the president's executive order several years ago, any full ground stop combined with a CAP triggers immediate presidential authorization to shoot down any aircraft non-compliant with the order. Neil, are we in any constitutional problems with the president under so much sedation? Kirkpatrick asked the Attorney General. We could be soon. My team is working up the papers to put the VP in charge, should that become necessary. We really need an update on his progress. Shouldn't be long, Kirkpatrick told Woody Moore, then turned to the VP. Sir, once we know for sure the president's status, I think you should make a statement in the press room. I agree. The VP turned and directed an aide to begin gathering the White House press corps, at least those not traveling with the president and thus stranded out on I-70 in Denver, to begin assembling for a briefing. Mr. Vice President, just a few things from my shop, said Secretary of State Tucker Payne. At the immediate security issues were finished. Yes, Tuck. What have you got? I just got off the phone with the Kremlin a moment ago. As you know, Marcia and I just returned from Moscow. Right. What are they saying? The trip itself was productive. They appreciated the emergency aid package very much, and they've been remarkably cooperative on the intelligence sharing front. But they are very concerned about the latest attack, and they don't believe there's any Al-Qaeda involvement. Not this time. Not with the success we've all had in ripping up their network. Who are they looking at? They're reluctant to say, but their first instinct is that it smells like Iraq. Why? I think they're working on something. We should have more later this morning. Okay, let me know first thing. Mr. Vice President? Yes, Jack. Jack Mitchell, Texas born and bred, was a close friend of the VP as well as the president, having met McPherson in the jungles of Vietnam as a junior field agent with the CIA. When McPherson returned to the States and headed for Wall Street, Mitchell asked for and received a transfer to the Middle East, rotating through a number of Gulf states. He eventually worked his way up to become the CIA station chief in Baghdad, shadowing the operatives of Mukhabarat, the Iraq Intelligence Service, tracking the influx of Soviet and East German weapons, advisors, and scientists, and trying to keep tabs on activities at such places as Salman Pak, a terrorist training camp. Todders, come here. Come here. Sorry. Todd, come here. Come here. A terrorist training camp and biological weapons factory located south of Baghdad along the Tigris River. Mitchell returned to the U.S. in 1989 to head up the Near East Operations Division at Langley, directing the agency's Scud hunting efforts during the Gulf War in 1991. He was also instrumental in helping secure the defection of two of Iraq's top nuclear scientists during the 1990s. Two of the most dramatic yet publicly unheralded modern success of the beleaguered American spy network. But for all his experience, Mitchell now shifted uncomfortably in his seat and stuffed some fresh tobacco chew between his cheek and gum. This thing's going from bad to worse fast. How so? The VP asked. We're not the only ones getting hit. Mitchell whispered to an assistant to begin rolling some newly acquired videotape from various CIA stations around the globe. Then he began narrating. Though obviously taken by amateurs, the images were surreal. The Canadian embassy in Paris was on fire. Every building in the compound was completely ablaze. Somehow the photographer, a Canadian tourist filming his fiancée in front of the embassy just moments before the attack began, had captured 3 car bomb explosions, one after another, inside the gates, followed by mortar fire coming in over the couple's heads. Everyone in the room, including the vice president, was visibly shaken. This footage just came in, said Mitchell. Casualties? Asked the VP. No word yet, sir. We're still trying to gather more information. We've got 2 field agents on the scene right now and more on the way. The Canadian embassy, Jack. What for? Asked Trainer. It's the new embassy, just completed. The Canadian president, Jean-Luc, was there to dedicate it. They've been having a huge party there all night. The room fell silent. I'm afraid that's not all, sir. Mitchell now directed everyone's attention to a second video screen. It was worse than the first. This is a live feed. Buckingham Palace in London is also on fire, apparently hit by a barrage of mortars and RPGs less than 10 minutes ago. Everyone in the room gasped. London station reports machine gun fire can presently be heard in the streets around the palace. I'm trying to get more on that right now, sir. Is the Queen there? The FBI Director Harris asked. It seems she is, said Mitchell. Our embassy reports she's okay, but she's being airlifted to a military hospital as a precaution. On the video screen, an aide could now be seen handing Mitchell a note. What have you got now, Jack? Asked the VP. Holy, is this confirmed? Are you sure? Mr. Vice President, I've just been handed a report that a 747 has just crashed into the Royal Palace in Saudi Arabia. What? One of my guys was actually driving to the palace when it happened. Saw the whole thing. Just sent a flash traffic email to the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, which was immediately forwarded here to Langley. Our agent started taking high 8 video footage. We should be getting that uplinked to us momentarily. Sir, this is Bert at the Pentagon. Yes, Bert. Sir, I have to say I now think we're looking at a coordinated global attack on our allied leaders. We need to go to DEFCON 2 immediately, not 3. And I'm sorry, I think now we've got to shut down the air traffic control system. A full ground stop, no planes up or down on the day before Thanksgiving? Asked a Deputy Treasury Secretary from Japan. I don't think we have any choice, sir, Trainer replied, directing his remarks to the Vice President. Jack, do we have any reason to believe we're going to see attacks on civilians? Or is Bert right? This is a series of assassinated attempts designed to decapitate governments friendly to us. Well, Bill, I can rightly say for sure, I can't go on record about what else might be coming. You got a bunch of lunatics out there right now trying to undo Western civilization. But yes, for the moment, the initial evidence suggests a concerted campaign of assassinations targeted at friendly governments, mostly NATO governments, rather than widespread civilian terrorism. But, sir, you know as well as I do that could change very fast. The vice president took a deep breath and took a sip of fresh coffee, just poured and prepared to his liking. Heavy cream, 3 sugar cubes, by a Filipino Navy steward. All right, look, here's what we're going to do. Marcia, put a full ground stop on private planes immediately, but hold off a bit on a full commercial ground stop, at least until I can talk to the president. I'll get you an answer soon. Bert, take us to DEFCON 2. The president will definitely concur on that, and I'll get it written out at Crystal Palace in the next few minutes. Tuck, send out a flash traffic alert to all of our embassies worldwide. Explain what's happening. Tell them to be in immediate contact with the leadership of their host countries, that a wave of assassination attempts is underway. Then you get a conference call set up immediately with the foreign ministers of the F8. Find out what they know, what they're doing about it. From here or state? Good question. I don't know. Bud? Sir, I don't think any of you should leave that bunker right now, not with what we're seeing unfold, said Norris. I think he's right, sir, Kirkpatrick agreed. We've got the facilities in the next room over. Tuck, you can run your diplomatic track from conference room 2 while we coordinate with the president and the task force from here. Good, do it, said the VP. Jack, anything else? Tell me some good news. Sorry, sir, said Mitchell. I'm afraid I don't have any. Sorry for all the interruptions this time.